There's more evidence of doctored screenshots in the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni case. While I was away, Baldoni's legal team dropped their timeline of events, and it includes more evidence that his legal team are knowingly submitting doctored evidence to the courts and hoping no one notices. Back in January, I did a video on the screenshots from Baldoni's initial complaint against the New York Times of a conversation between James Fitzuker of the Daily Mail and Leslie Sloan, Blake Lively's publicist, that showed signs they had been doctored, with two completely different accounts of the same conversation, showing that either messages had been deleted or one of these screenshots has been edited. And now, Baldoni's own timeline of events, which was released on the website Baldoni's lawyer Bryan Freedman had launched in order to be fully transparent, stating categorically that we will not be selective, we will not cherry pick, and we will not doctor text messages, proves that Baldoni's legal team are indeed doctoring text messages in the documents they are presenting to the court. Back in Baldoni's original complaint against the New York Times, page 14 if you're playing along at home, they show an exchange between Sloan and Fitzuker, where Sloan is responding to Fitzuker telling her that Baldoni's camp had planted a negative story about Blake Lively with the Daily Mail. "I'm telling you she," meaning Stephanie Jones, Baldoni's publicist, "is a liar. They are panicking because the whole cast hates him." Fitzuker replies, "So they want to run something based on this reporting and I want to shut it down, but I need something to shut it down with. I know she's a liar. I just need to get my editor on board because she has 3 reporters feeding her BS, 2 from LA. Sloan responds, "I promise she is lying. This will not look good for your site." Yet just a few weeks later, when Baldoni submitted that conversation again as part of the timeline of events, it looks different. Baldoni admits his publicist did indeed plant a negative story about Blake with the Daily Mail, but in this version of the conversation, Fitzuker's reply saying he wants to shut it down is gone. It's been removed, completely edited out of the screenshot. Since this is now the second example of doctored screenshots in his court documents, it is almost certain he has doctored other messages, and explains why he worked so hard to initially claim Lively was doctoring messages, but the only evidence they could show was a missing emoji. The fact that this man can submit fraudulent documents to the court and still have anyone defending him is proof of how misogynistic our approach to believing victims of sexual assault is. Which is why this topic is so important to keep talking about, even though I know so many of you are already over it. This is not about Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni. This is about how a man can blatantly lie. We can prove he's lying and intentionally being deceitful, claiming to be transparent while deliberately doctoring and editing what you see. And yet he will still be seen as credible. The narrative is all about how if Blake Lively isn't being truthful, then she's harming all victims. But as Anovanolea points out, nobody is saying that Justin lying makes it harder for men who have been wrongly accused to be believed. There's no collective outrage from men over the fact that Baldoni is submitting doctored conversations. That instead of honesty and remorse, men who are exposed as predators will literally launch a smear campaign to destroy the careers of an entire cast of people and spend millions of dollars rather than be accountable, which hurts the credibility of all men. And if men want to be believed, if we want to turn around our reputation and be seen as valuing truth, honesty, and accountability, that they are important qualities to men, then collectively we need to do a much better job at being upset and calling out the men who continue to lie right in front of our faces.